This might be one of the most radical homes I've ever toured. A house with no front, no back, just 360 degrees of landscape. And in a moment, you will explore everything. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Restless Living. My name is Christian Tramberg, and today we've taken the long journey to the Setouchi Inland Sea in Japan to experience one of the most fascinating architectural projects we have ever featured on this channel, the Setouchi 360, designed by Bjarke Ingels Group for Not a Hotel. The project is built on the island of Sakishimi, so to get there, we arrived by boat. This house is built around a very unusual idea. Instead of framing one perfect view, it removes the frame entirely. No front, no back. No single direction that matters more than another. Everything becomes a view. And that's exactly what I want to explore today. How does it feel like to live in a house designed around the full horizon? Is this a house you simply look at, or a house that changes how you look? Arriving at the island is quite spectacular. From the first glance to the docking sequence, it quickly gives you an idea of the project's quality. Set at the highest point of the site, 360 is a beautiful expression of its surroundings. A ring-shaped home designed to place you in constant relation to the landscape with a calm roofline that continues to spiral down the topography of the land. The villa is low against the horizon. The walls are curved and grounded. And you already feel this contradiction that the house is built on. It is futuristic, yet rooted in the earth. Open, yet protected. Minimal, yet extremely complex. Before we enter, just have a look at this. The structure of the house is based on rammed earth, using soil from the side. The remaining part of the circular facade is made of curved glass, a modern interpretation of shoji screens. The roof, on the other hand, is covered with solar tiles that reinterpret traditional Japanese roof tiles. And the form, it's bold and inspiring, a trademark of both Bjarke Ingels and Not a Hotel. So the house is already doing something really interesting. It's not copying tradition, it is sort of translating it. Let's head inside. Okay, this is different, and I mean that very literally. Normally when you enter a house, you understand quite quickly how the house wants you to behave. But here, the house refuses to give you that instruction. There's no obvious front, no back, no single orientation, and that is the entire point. The more practical functions are consolidated into separate volumes or pods, while the main living experience remains open, continuous, and panoramic. Walking this hall, I mean, look at these rammed earth walls. So beautiful. It tells a story of each layer, how they're made, each taking one day to reinforce itself to create the strength that is needed. And then right here at the center, this courtyard, a protected void, open only to the sky. This is where the architectural concept becomes really interesting, because a fully transparent 360-degree house could easily feel exposed in a very uncomfortable way. Beautiful, yes, but also vulnerable, like you're on display. So the central courtyard becomes this counterbalance. The outside perimeter is immersive and exposed, but the inner zone is enclosed, grounding, and private. Macrocosmos versus microcosmos. You know, the big world outside and the small protected world inside. And conceptually, this connects beautifully to the Japanese idea of ma, space defined not just by objects, but by intervals, relationships, and the tension between things. The void is not empty. It organizes everything. Now this is the part I was most curious about, because designing a circle might sound poetic until you actually have to live in it. Human beings are used to corners. We use corners to anchor furniture. We use corridors to understand movement. We use walls to define where one room ends and another begins. But here, those rules are loosened. Movement is fluid, and continuous rather than corridor-based. You do not pass from room to room in the traditional sense. You circulate through space, and that changes the psychology of the house. And suddenly, the house is not just something you inhabit, it is something you orbit. But of course, daily life is not purely poetic. A kitchen needs straight lines because food preparation is practical. It requires surfaces, storage, appliances, clear working dimensions. And those things are not naturally circular. So the kitchen becomes a kind of an anchor within this fluid plan, a moment of straightness inside the curve. And I really like that, because if everything was curved, then the house would become too literal, almost becoming a concept model. Imagine cooking breakfast here, not facing a wall, but this. So the main living area is where this concept becomes most tangible. In a normal conventional house, the living room would face something, but here that hierarchy is dissolved. The furniture has to exist within a field rather than in front of a picture. And that is a huge difference, because the landscape is not one cinematic frame at the end of the room, it is all around you. Morning brings soft, diffused light. Midday makes the horizon feel expansive and open. Sunset wraps the entire space in warmth. And at night, the exterior fades into abstraction and reflections take over. Outside, the heated infinity pool becomes another kind of horizon. It mirrors the sea, the sky, and the architecture, extending the idea of reflection that already exists throughout the house. And what I really appreciate here is how the outdoor space does not feel separate from the interior. The roof overhang mediates the transition. The glass dissolves the boundary, and the curved form keeps everything moving. There are also gardens surrounding the villa, where many of the rocks were found while building this place, and then they were repurposed within the landscape design. Now, one question I think everyone will have is, how do you create privacy in a house like this? Because full immersion does indeed sound amazing. Full exposure, however, is something else. So the answer is, privacy is created in layers. First, through distance and site positioning, then through zoning, open areas on the perimeter, more protected functions toward the inner zones, and then through soft elements like curtains and partitions. The glass appears almost continuous, but structurally it is segmented. So again, we have this contradiction, open in perception, protected in reality. And I think that is one of the best ways to describe this place. Moving into the more private areas, the house shifts tone. The perimeter still keeps you connected to the landscape, but the atmosphere becomes softer and more grounded. Here you can also clearly see the deeper design relationship between Scandinavia, or more specifically Denmark, where Bjarke Ingels is from, and Japan. Both traditions value simplicity, natural materials, craft, restraint, a strong relationship between architecture and nature. I feel like this relationship is especially highlighted by the bath area, where the landscape takes center stage and you can just sink in, lower your shoulders, and activate your inner zen. One of the recurring elements of 360 is its dedication to wellness. The villa features a sculptural sauna room to sweat out bad energy, an open air cold bath to feel alive, an outdoor gym with panoramas to stay in shape, and outdoor experiences that blur the line between hospitality and private retreat. Now that we understand 360, the project makes much more sense, because this house doesn't stand alone. It belongs to a family of architectural experiences, each one named after the degree of view it offers. So 360 is total horizon immersion. But then there is 270, which opens itself toward a wide panorama of the surrounding archipelago. It is still expansive, but it is less absolute. There is more direction here. 180, on the other hand, sits closest to the sea, at the tip of the peninsula. Its curvature follows the coastal landscape, and the experience becomes more intimate. It gives you half the world, not everything. And that limitation is actually what gives it its character. And finally, down by the beach, we have restaurant 90. This is where the experience narrows even further. If 360 is total immersion, 90 is focus. It is gathering your attention toward food, water, and atmosphere. I think it's worth briefly talking about what Not a Hotel is trying to do, because this is not a private traditional villa in its usual sense. Not a Hotel is trying to collapse the boundaries between owning a home, staying in a hotel, and traveling. Instead of buying one second home that you may only use a few times a year, owners can purchase fractional ownership and exchange nights across different properties in the network. So ownership becomes more fluid, less tied to one static address, more connected to access, experience, and lifestyle. I believe it is clear that the Setouchi 360 by Bjarke Ingels Group and Not a Hotel is not just simply a circular house with a beautiful view. It is a study in what happens when architecture refuses to choose one direction. No back, no front, not one single best view. Instead, the house asks you to exist in relation to everything around you. The sea, the islands, the sky, the courtyard, the changing light, and the passing weather. And that is what makes it so fascinating. It is futuristic, but deeply connected to Japanese tradition, local material, and the specific atmosphere of this island. The rammed earth walls bring the ground into the architecture. The floor recalls tatami logic. The solar roof transforms traditional tiles into technology, and the circular plan turns the house into something almost philosophical. A place where the view is not in front of you, it is around you. And maybe that is the real achievement here. Not that the house gives you something to look at, but that it changes how you look. I hope you enjoyed the tour. See you next time.